The first time I soldered, I grabbed the soldering iron by the iron, not the handle. Yes, it was plugged in and turned on. Whatever version of autism I have, which has now been officially diagnosed but may soon categorize itself into some other neurodivergence due to its apparent relatability, impacts my processing speed. This was noted by the psychiatrist in my recent assessment, and it echoes years of less diagnostic sentiment that I am super smart, but a bit slow. Like a cargo ship, my mom would say. Just takes you a while to turn, but then you're off in that direction and nothing can stop you. It took me a while to process that I was holding 400 degrees of metal in my human meat hands. When I finally did notice, I dropped the iron like a hot potato, which would have been preferable. I peeled away the rubber gloves, which had melted at the points of contact and had otherwise conducted the heat down my fingers in a way that burned less seriously and therefore way more painfully than the iron itself had. I made a joke, I don't remember, to assure everyone in the introductory stained glass class that I was fine, and then I rushed to the restroom to run my shaking fingers under cold water. You know what's weird, though? I didn't cry. I always cry. I could cry right now just thinking about how I always cry. I am a nervous wreck. I'm always thinking about what could go wrong, how I could mess up, how I could look stupid, how my loved ones and I are nothing but killable NPCs in a world built for and by destructive, unserious anti-heroes. I have got too much adrenaline in my system. I'm like a little bunny, constantly twitching my ears for danger, ready to stomp the ground and gather my people into an underground hole I've decorated meticulously with irreverent art and shiny things and comfy things and treasured memories. My grandmother was the same way, so I know the nerves in visual thinking are inherited.
Singing this song, show me the way to go home. Bum, bum.
But when the worst did happen, and I had fucked up and seriously hurt myself on my very first project, no less, I was surprised to find that I wasn't feeling fear, dread, or shame. God damn, Instead, I was flooded with a strange sense of accomplishment? Angry welts started to form on the thumb, fore, and middle finger of my dominant hand, but it didn't matter. I felt incredible.
Thank you to all my wonderful grandchildren for the letters that they sent to me on my 85th birthday and for becoming the kind of people that I really love and respect.
Nice.
Aww. We love you.
We love you.
Aw, gee.
I had wanted to make stained glass for years. It was the fantasy that I escaped to when I was overwhelmed at work. It was when I was having relationship issues, when I was feeling self-conscious. For a long time, it was such a quiet message in the back of my head that it was almost subliminal. So I didn't realize it was the only constant. Ugh, I just want to quit everything and make stained glass. Everything would be better if I learned how to make stained glass. I bet that wall that I can't afford to put art on yet would look so much nicer through some colored glass. Solder lines. As a white American descendant of European immigrants, I have never had a cultural or ancestral connection to any land. As a pansexual woman, I've also never been sure if I saw myself with a man, a woman, or single. I've always gone back and forth on having kids, on what my career should be.
My name is Caitlin Roberts, and I am an eternally curious subject matter expert, copywriter, with 8 years of experience.
Where and how I want to live. My neurodivergence makes me so used to physical discomfort and detailed nuance that a sense of self has always felt elusive.
My name is Caitlin Roberts. You can call me Katie. And I am a copywriter from San Francisco, California, who moved to Spain recently.
Being of this generation has meant consuming so much information from the little screen in my pocket, contemplating so many different lives that my self has become fractured. Or perhaps multifaceted? In a way that humans probably won't understand until our own descendants have had an opportunity to get some distance and examine our accounts of when we first got a taste of being everything, everywhere, all at once.
Good morning, good morning. Peace up the morning.
I did.
Good morning.
To you and you and you and you.
I love you guys.
This is just a message to say, I hope you're having a great day. And it's really tough, cause I miss you and stuff, but I love you, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hope you're having a good day. Hey, hey, cause I love you and stuff. And stuff. Hey, hey, I hope you're having a good day.
I love you, you know that?
And when I see you, gonna slap that butt. That butt!
So when my silly, quick-witted, yes and improv-minded boyfriend asked me recently with deep frustration and contextual poignancy, "What do you want?" And I'm pretty sure he meant, what kind of future do you imagine for yourself that requires setting goals and making sacrifices? All I could say for certain was to make beautiful things. And that's genuinely it. If forced to specify, I want my hands to be moving, pressure applied, forms to be taking other forms, light refracting, chemicals reacting. I want something to exist that didn't exist before I had the idea, or at least this particular version of the idea. I want to prove that I was here, to have a sense of control that doesn't inflict control on anybody else. I want a room of my own that people can come to when I invite them. I want tools. I want supplies. I want sustainability. And when I say that's it, what I mean is what comes into my life from there, friends and family and location and money, it doesn't have to be really curated, you know? I think I'd be happy to be surprised by the shape of it.
The Bohemians! That's a good book.
Spiders weave their webs anywhere, right? They're pretty famous for it. Whatever sticks, sticks, whether they mean for it to or not. And sometimes this is what sustains them, sometimes it weighs them down, but they get to just focus on the weaving, on the obsessive, monotropic, locked-in weaving.
What do you want me to do, Emma?
Create the fucking content.
What am I doing right now? I'm creating the fucking content.
You're doing nothing right now. Create the fucking content.
Over the next couple of weeks, the burns on my fingers bubbled and shot lightning up my hands and arms at the slightest touch or movement. Typing on the keyboard for my day job as a tech analyst sucked, but it was a regular reminder that I was doing the thing. "Oh my God, how'd you burn your fingers?" somebody would say, concerned. "I was making stained glass," I'd respond, grinning. And my little studio was coming along too. My fingers healed faster than I expected them to, and I was back at it before then, thinking about how when my mom was my age, she'd gone back to her medical residency almost immediately after undergoing major surgery on her neck, before she even had tactile feeling back in her fingers. She did this because a few years before her injury, she'd had 3 kids in 3 years, and her astute husband had noticed a certain discomfort, a certain longing that was palpable. And when he poignantly asked her, "What do you want?" she realized that the answer was medical school. And so they'd worked it out. He reduced his hours to stay home and take care of the kids. They enlisted the help of her parents, and my mom enrolled in medical school, and she had gotten all the way to residency before a neck injury laid her flat out. I distinctly remember the buzzing of the fluorescent lights in her windowless hospital room when she came out of surgery. The way they turned the antiseptic on her stitched-up throat a sickly yellow. But she healed. And then she went back and finished her residency. So when I went back to my stained glass class at Nat D'Ameto Vitralis,
Hello, I'm Nat D'Ameto, and I'm here to tell you that you now have 2 ways of learning stained glass with me in Barcelona: the 4-hour workshop and the continuous course.
I was very careful to look away from my project and directly at the soldering iron before I picked it up for another sizzling, satisfying pass with the lead that was actually tin nowadays for reasons relating to sickness and madness and increased knowledge. The thickness in the lines was inconsistent, and there were bumps in the tin, and I had some regrets about some of my color choices, but finished pieces had such a satisfying weight to them. Not the kind of thing my generation has increasingly become so accustomed to with mass manufacturing. Forget particle board and plastics and synthetics. With stained glass, there was no air of cut corners, ironically. It had the heft of handcraftedness and demanded delicate handling. Variations and imperfections in the glass were the result of someone's breath and careful movements. I could hold my hard work up to the light and see it glow. I'd recently seen an image of a rabbit and a spider online that I couldn't get out of my head. A reverse Google image search said it might be the work of Stephen Bradshaw, but I couldn't find the exact piece in his archives, and his similar rabbit art looks just different enough for me to doubt. If it turns out to be somebody different, I'll of course give them full credit. I found some printer paper and got to work at my dining room table on hand drawing a pattern based on the concept. The thing is, though, that stained glass doesn't adhere to typical line art rules. You have to be conscious of the structure and where glass tends to break. And I could already tell that I was creating a practical mess for myself, so I reached out for advice. Suggestions from an online stained glass forum were helpful. Extend the tail to eliminate those awkward background slivers that'll be hard to cut. Anywhere you can combine a lead line from the subject with a lead line from the background, find a way to do that. Look at the shapes of their bodies. Do they help define the anatomy in curable, pleasing shapes? Maybe some dichroic bevel pieces for the spider's body. That way it would project multiple colors in different shades of light. Needs a second foot. I listened, adjusted, and refined. When I brought it to my instructor, Nat, she warned me that this is going to take a lot longer than I expected. Ambitious but doable, she said. I just want you to know what you're getting yourself into. I respectfully ignored her, of course, because I couldn't have conceived of what she meant at the time. I was a cargo ship, already traveling in a certain direction, so she helped me to plug the design into a drawing app, incorporate a more whimsical frame, and select my colors. Every Saturday, for the next 4 months, in 4-hour sessions, I returned to Nat's studio to print the design backwards onto sticker paper, number the piece, cut it out.
We're gonna have to scale up.
Stick it onto some carefully selected sections of glass, cut the glass piece one single not too curvy edge at a time, Pin it in place, grind it exactly into the intended shape, clean it from every angle so copper foil would stick, foil the edge, flux and solder a line,
An extra service we offer.
being very careful to grab the iron by the handle, solder that line on the other side by the handle, clean again, patina, oxidize, and then do it again 129 more times. It was so much more work than I had anticipated, and I loved every single minute of it. It was Nat's idea to overlay the spider rather than to cut it into the pattern itself, and I wasn't entirely sure what she meant at first. Would it be glued to the background glass? Was there a way to solder it on? Listen, I have a tattoo that went wrong from trusting an artist to know better than what my gut was telling me, so it was truly anxiety-inducing to trust the process without fully understanding it. Nat, of course, had no idea that I was berating myself, bracing for the regret that I'd feel that I'd let my vision be steamrolled. But when I eventually understood that she intended for the spider to be hung from a chain, I thought it was genius, especially when I realized that it could now be made of literally anything I wanted, which put the creative decision-making back in my hands. I liked the beetle-like colors and the way that light hit labradorite. When I'd looked up the symbolism, there were mentions of transformation, inner wisdom, willpower, self-worth, and clear communication. And for the 24 hours before I incorporated the 2 teardrop-shaped stones into the piece, I slipped them into my pocket and fiddled with them constantly, never letting them lose the warmth of my hands until they were too hot to handle from soldering. And then the piece was patinaed. Silver lines turned black like magic. Pliers were used to attach the spider to the chain and the chain to the piece.
Oh, and it catches the light so nicely.
And then it was done.
Oh, it's perfect.
There's a quote that's followed me around most of my life. Something my 7th grade social studies teacher once told my parents. He said, "Caitlin is a poor steward of her imagination." And in the context of any and all windowless spaces that light themselves via god-awful fluorescent strips that shiver and buzz like angry cicadas during a biblical plague. And I'm talking schools, hospitals, underground car parks, government buildings. Yeah, my imagination has necessarily left the building. In that context, a burn, a cut, a headache, an unkind word is debilitating. But put me in some warm light, give me something to do with my hands, give me a little space with which to work. Maybe leave an old door out on the street that I can drag home and turn into a work table.
It works! That's incredible!
And I glow. This first ever video of the Poor Steward channel is based on an article that I wrote on Medium called How to Quit Everything and Make Stained Glass, which got a Medium staff pick last month. No big deal. I have been writing on Medium for years, and I have tons of personal essays about history, travel, and culture, and I have been wanting to turn them into videos for forever. I just couldn't stand memorizing them for the camera. So this is the perfect solution. The plan now is to make a glass project related to each essay, film the process, and narrate the video with my essay. So no memorization required. So right now I've got a new essay in the works, which is about the revolutionary act of being diagnosed with autism and how it impacts us on both a personal and a collective level. I'm going to be posting it first to Patreon for my contributors and then to Medium, and then I'll make a video, and that is where you'll see me finish this glass piece that I am currently working on. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please subscribe here on YouTube and then head over to my Patreon page where I've got a single tier going for €5 a month, which is going to help me pay for glass supplies. It's gonna cover my editing time, because holy shit, this video took forever. And when you sign up, you'll get early access to essays, work in progress photos of the glass projects, and you'll get first dibs if I ever get to a place where I feel like my work is good enough to sell. So just head over to patreon.com/poorsteward and sign up to become a Steward Little. As for the other socials, I'm at Caitlin Roberts Writer on Instagram. I'm Caitlin Roberts Writer on Facebook. And what else? On Medium, I am... Let's see, what does it say on Medium? Oh, yeah, on Medium, I'm just at Caitlin Roberts. And you could check out my entire writing portfolio over at www.caitlinroberts.com. If you type in www.poorsteward.com, it takes you to the same exact place. Okay, bye!